It's a common sense recap of the big stories. It's Katz and Cosby on 77 WABC.
And now let's go to Alison Esposito. She is in a very big hot race running for the 18th Congressional District in New York. That's Orange County, Ulster County also as well, most of that. 18th Congressional District against Congressman Pat Ryan. And Alison, first off, I love your background. You have such an amazing background. Tell us a little bit about why people need to vote for you. You understand law and order firsthand.
Yes. Well, good evening. Thank you so much for having me. Yes, I am running in the 18th district. It's Orange, it's Ulster, and it's Dutchess County. And I'm really running to bring common sense and integrity back to elected leadership in Washington. I was a New York City cop and commander for 25 years, and I loved being a cop. I loved protecting and serving the public. But the city, the state, and the country went upside down. Police were public enemy number one. There was an attack on energy. There's an attack on small businesses. We're overtaxed. We're overregulated. We're in a time right now where everything we know to be good, they're telling us is bad, and vice versa. So I walked away from my police force with a very heavy heart and a deep breath of air because I felt like I could be doing more. And I ran with Congressman Lee Zeldin as his lieutenant governor running mate against Kathy Hochul in 2022. And we campaigned all over the state, upstate, downstate, in the cities, out of cities. It didn't matter what you looked like, what God you prayed to, what your skin color was, or where you were from. Everyone was saying the same thing. Please help us. We're overtaxed. We can't afford to live here. My children can't afford to raise kids here. I can't afford to harvest the crop that I've planted. There's an attack on energy, and we can't survive. And I made a commitment to these people. And even though Lee and I came up just short, I had to figure out how to serve. And I live and grew up in Orange County. I built my home there 20 years ago as an adult. And I love the Hudson Valley area. And Pat Ryan is the wrong guy. He talks about common sense and middle of the road, but he votes along party lines. He's a rubber stamp. He's a progressive left activist. He's a Green New Deal guy. He calls weapons in the hands of cops weapons of war. He's voted against raising the SALT cap, and our New Yorkers are struggling.
You know, Alison Esposito, too, explain why it's also so important when people are going out there and voting. I know that Speaker Johnson has spent a lot of time in New York, helpful because he understands sort of all roads, as Ed Cox knows too well, how important it is to keep the House. Explain why that's so important when people go out there.
So it's more important in the local elections and the district elections than even the presidential. Now, even though President Trump believes he can take New York, that is a really tough thing to do. I would love to see it happen, but it's a really tough thing to do. But if President Trump gets into office and we do not keep the majority of the House, they will start the shenanigans again, and they will start impeaching, and they will block him at every turn. The Biden administration was able to come in day one through 94 executive orders. They overturned border security. They overturned our energy independence. They overtaxed, overregulated. They caused record high or sky high inflation, 40-year high of 9. When they came into office, it was 1.4. The Biden-Harris administration has done nothing. And if we do not keep the House majority and get the Senate, we are not going to be able to turn this ship in the right direction. And they're just going to block President Trump on every turn, whether it's energy independence or whether it's losing our footing on the world stage, the wars that are erupting all over the world because of a weak administration. There's so much we have to do, but it's so important that everybody gets out and vote. We can win this as long as our New Yorkers realize that the road is through New York.
What is the first what's in your district? What are your people worried about the most?
So it's economy. It's crime, law and order, public safety, and a secure southern border. That is what people are worried about. You know, my opponent is a wolf in sheep's clothing, and he talks about women's rights, but he boils women down to only one right. But he doesn't, because of his pro-criminal policies, he doesn't think a woman has a right to go running in the park without falling victim of a crime. He doesn't believe a woman has a right to play on the sports field or be in their locker room safely and privately without a male being in there. He doesn't believe that a woman should have the right to be able to send their kid to a party without fear of overdosing on fentanyl because of his lax southern southern border. He was a sanctuary city guy. He made Ulster County a sanctuary county, and our people are worried about not only the attack on energy and the prosperity that has left New Yorkers, but they're worried about our southern border, and they're worried about crime and public safety. Our kids are suffering because there are millions of people in here, and we're spending taxpayer dollars to clothe them, to feed them, to care for them.
It is extraordinary.
On the street.
Allison, real quick, what's the website, too, for people to find out more?
AlisonEsposito.com. Come out, volunteer, support, but everybody needs to get out and vote.
Absolutely. Alison Esposito, thank you for your great service. We wish you so much luck on Tuesday.
So
Great to have you here. Thanks so much.